Welcome to the Pawn Sacrifice channel and part 37 of the 924S turbo build, doing my regular pointing at the car that you can't see. If you're new to the channel, then I'll put a link up to the build series, and yeah, so you can get caught up and marvel in all the progress that we've made. Right, so this time I am going to go through another box that I've bought, and this time it is from Mishimoto, and it's a Baffled oil catch can. I'll show you this, I'll pop it on the bench in a sec. It's actually really nicely done and presented. This, I'm not sure how much they are new. I bought this one on eBay for about £100, I think, or thereabouts, which just goes to show, actually, if you are doing this sort of thing, try and work out at the start, or this is what I did at least, a list of the things that you think you're going to need or that you're going to be replacing. Set up have a look, but then set up a load of saved searches for all of the things that you want to try and get cheaper, that you may not need straight away, and just sit back and let the bargains roll in as and when they become available, which is pretty much exactly what happened here. But now we'll get around to fitting this. I'll show you on the car where this is going in. Essentially, there's a breather that went to some funny thing, I can't remember what it's called. Just pause, I'll put it down here somewhere, what that was. But essentially this is going to be deleted and hopefully going to remove some potential problems with it. So yeah, let's have a look in the box and see exactly what we've got. For something that is a car part and relatively cheap, I thought this was all rather well or nicely put together in terms of what we've got. So in here is a section of hose that you would use to connect the baffle can in. I would show you there's a slight complication with this in terms of sizing, but I'll come back to that later. Then there's a bracket with a nice little name on it to attach that to, and then there's another one, so I think that's probably, yeah, so that one's on the top. I'm not quite sure. I assume that one goes on the bottom, but I'll work that out as I go along. And then there's even this nice little pouch of things, which I haven't really been into before. So, yeah, all of this is as new, unused. So there's the bolts on the top of the bracket, there's some other brackety bits. So I've got all the things I need really, hopefully, to get all this just connected up. So pretty much what we have here is the breather, which is coming off the crankcase. There's a couple points on there where that comes out, goes through this part, which is a bit ungainly and a bit in the way. But yeah, that comes in out of there into a hose. This then basically routed round to the other side in standard form. There was some shenanigans going on here with some vacuum business and what have you, before it then went back into the intake, so the turbo intake. And essentially the slight issue that I've got is the sizing. So as you can see, there's quite a disparity there. So I need to work out what I'm going to do about that. But for the time being, let's get the catch can mounted. Actually, before we do anything else, should we have a quick look inside? So underneath here, there's this little disc, and that is undone with an 8mm Allen head thingamajig. Let's just take this off. This essentially is to drain it. So the whole reasoning behind this is the vapours that come out are going to be a mixture of air and also oil as well. And that's why sometimes when you have a look at the the throttle body, it will have sort of oil deposits on there, and sort of trying to wonder how everything got there. Oh, we can't see inside here, but that's the little drain. I was hoping we'd be able to see the baffles inside, but apparently not. So yeah, that's all you do is drop that down, and then essentially drain the fluid out of that. I was hoping to have a proper look and see how it all works, but we can. So, crumbs. Right, there we go. So it's got a sort of filtery type thing there, and then there's the tray thing at the bottom, which will then hopefully catch all of the nasty oil and keep it there to then be drained out of the hole in the bottom. So that's all rather nice, isn't it? So I can find the best spot to fit this. I'm just going to put the brackets on loosely and then try and work out where to put it on the car. There's no instructions, so I'm just kind of going to guess. I don't know if I need to put both brackets on there or whether it's a case of one will do. I suspect one will do, but I'll see how this looks and then pick from there. And I'm guessing also that band should be on here to sort of help with the bottom brackety bit. That's everything sort of loosely fitted now. I've had a bit of a hunt around, and I think down here is going to be the best place to fit it. So I should be able to nutsert onto the railing there. And there we have it, freshly fitted catch can. Went for the mounting off of the rail just because I thought, well, there's enough space. Yeah, so that's all good, and hopefully with the position where it is, it's easy to get access underneath for the draining as and when needed. There's not going to be anything, hopefully, that's going to be in the way of the pipes coming on and off of the turbo. So yeah, quite pleased with that. And next thing I'm going to have a quick look at is the throttle cable mount against the throttle body. So let's have a look at that. Right, next up we need to make the throttle work, and this is the cable from the standard Porsche one. So I need to work out some routing and what have you for it, but essentially this needs to come through here and hook round into here. Now originally I designed this bit with this tab on so that it could be drilled and tapped to screw this in, but because the screw element of this is fixed to the cable, obviously I can't turn that round in here. So I think instead I'm going to look at making a bracket for this. So let's bring you in a bit closer. So I think what I'm going to have to do is chop that bit off, which I lovingly left. This hooks around. There's a sort of bit under there that clips into. And I need to do some slight modifications around here. But I think if I make a bracket so that that's pointing in the right direction, so probably like that, and aiming down there, that'll be gone and it will go straight into the thingamajig. And there'll be some adjustment. You're probably noticing that this is far too long. What I think I'm going to do is, well, I'm going to have a look and see about getting one of these little thingamajigs that goes on the end, cutting this down and then getting it more to the right size, and then I'll have the adjustment essentially between those two nuts on there. Have it so that the section comes up here in the middle that it fixes to, and then there's a plate across there. So what I could do is just make it in two sections. Have the plate across there, this bit that comes up, and then something along the side just to stabilize it. So that's the shape I'm going for. To start off with, and I should have plenty of room to play with. I might even make this a bit larger, and then I've always got stuff that I can cut off if I need it. This is just a bit of scrap that I've been practicing on. So I've got my metal sheet roughly cut to shape, and I've fitted my little spiked up cut down bolts in there. So I just now need to, I think that should be about there. So I've got my plate fitted, and that should give me my straight line to the mounting point, which is going to be about there or somewhere along here. That essentially is the way that the plate sits against the intake manifold. So I've now got my line, and I've kind of skipped ahead a little bit, but I've got my line that the cable is going to follow. So I want the mount to be at right angles to that, and I think I'm going to bring it out to this line here and then across. So the idea is that I'll basically cut across that, fold, and then hopefully that'll sit flat enough down for me to be able to just weld that in place and then drill it and what have you for mounting. So we'll see if it works out as easy as that when I actually do it, particularly because there's welding involved, but let's see. The sort of top bit down actually welded quite nicely until it didn't. I think there was a bit there where it blew through, and then after that it became a bit of a mess. So I just ground that back, and I popped a couple of tacks on the other side and then sorted that out. So yeah, anyway, I'm rather pleased with myself right there. Now the bracket's in position and is nice and sturdy. I need to look at where this is going to be coming down. So if I line this up straight. So this gives me basically the run of where the cable is going, just to keep that everything in line. So it's pretty much that there. And I think from height wise, I think if I bring it, just have a look, I think if it goes there, then that's going to come out nicely height wise. Say, lost forever. So I think height wise, if it comes through about there, I just need to be mindful of not snagging the position of the where the bolts are going through on these bolts here. So just quickly then, that's the bracket with the bolt in place there, although it's a bit wonky, might have to trim that down. And you can see from the position that I've got on that little dot there, that there's plenty of space between the two to get that nut on. So bracket time, that's been folded rather than just cut, just because folds add strength, which is why that one's been done up and around and then welded there. The little slits cut in so that the cable obviously goes in and out, and there's enough there to bolt onto. There's clearance for the bolts, so this will all fit in. I need to still work this out. So I'm just going to pop this off now and just clean it up a bit and then take it inside and get it painted. And there we have it. Catch can tucked nice and neatly, and the little bracket on there, and is now painted and looking splendid. So very pleased with all of that this week. Not quite sure what I'm going to be doing next. I'll have a look through. I've got quite a lot on, so I'll hopefully be able to keep up with the pace that I have been going at, because we're edging ever so close now. But yeah, if you've made it this far, as always, thank you for watching, and hopefully catch you next time. Cheers for now.